Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Creativity Can Be Learned webinar. It's lovely to have you here with us this evening. I'm going to start with short introductions of us, myself and our panelists. My name is Glynis Fester. I am a small business owner. My company is called Forward Thinking Institute, and we do training and coaching. I am a life coach and a career coach, and I design and present training and coaching programs. I am joined today by two lovely ladies, and first I'd like to introduce Vanessa Govender. Vanessa Govender, I've known her for quite a number of years. We shared the travel industry in our long-standing careers. And Vanessa has recently started her own business. Her business is called Meraki by V, and she creates unique spaces, gifts, decor, furniture, and curios. Vanessa is a very creative lady. My second panelist is Annalise Arthur, also a long-standing colleague and from the travel industry. I've known Annalise for many years, and Annalise has also recently started her own business, and her business is called K&A Networks. And what they do is they provide solutions and try to assist businesses to generate sales in creative ways. Welcome to our panel this evening, Vanessa and Annalise. Hope you'll enjoy the session, and we will jump right in. So now we're in record mode. You must put on your best smiles. Smile for the camera. But as I said, okay, the most prevalent question on all of our minds must be what COVID-19 has done to our businesses and to ourselves. And when I looked at statistics from Stats SA, the unemployment rate, if you don't know it yet, is sitting at 3.1%, and it's climbing. It's climbing daily. Inside of that unemployment rate, there is almost 45% of the youth that are unemployed. And of that, there's a huge percentage. Oh, Taylor, you're putting your hand up. There's a huge percentage of graduates, people who have gone through their 3 years of study and cannot find jobs. So I do believe that it is very important for businesses as well as educators and educational institutes to start looking at creativity. Because I can tell you now, it is one of the most important skills you could possibly have under your belt, and that's what we're going to unpack today, because it is the number 3 skill that you need to have today. If that's not on your CV, or creative thinking is not on your CV, you need to reconsider what you've studied, how you studied, and change lanes and get creativity under your belt. I want to throw out because I've quoted the stats now, firstly, I want to go to Vanessa, because I know Vanessa is in the education side of things as well. And I just want to ask you, the stat that I've just quoted about 30,000 graduates unemployed, what would be your thinking?
Glynis, I agree with you 100%. As you say, I am actively very involved at the university. I'm currently a postgraduate myself. And this year, even before COVID, the educators realized that there is a very big problem with all these graduates without jobs.
Yeah.
So what they did for the first time in history is they brought in non-graduate tutors to actually educate the postgraduates and to give them sound street smart advice on skills that the books can't teach you. Like you said, it's completely communication, creativity, problem solving, how to negotiate. So that is extremely important. And myself also, every quarter, I'm very lucky. I've been invited to sit as a key player on a panel. And these educators and professors, then they ask us, listen, in your corporate environment, what is the requirement? If you have these graduates that come in, what do they need? Where's the shortages? And they ask those questions because although they are professors, they've never sat in that corporate chair.
Correct.
So no, I agree with you 100%. And it is definitely changing. And post-COVID, it will change even more.
That's good to hear. That's encouraging to hear. Just, that the professors are actually thinking of bringing the people from the corporate world into the universities. So even if you're not in the corporate world, but you're entrepreneurs like we are, to bring us in to start talking to the students of today, because you spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort and energy in what you are studying, and at the end of it, you are unable to make your mark in the workplace. So that's the one thing. Thank you for that, Vanessa. Then Annelies, you have been in the travel industry for so many years, and I'm just throwing it out to you. What has COVID-19 done to your industry, and what have you done for yourself?
So yes, Glennie, this was completely unexpected for most of us. I think nobody could have affected this COVID had on the travel industry as such. You would think of big corporate clients that used to trade a total of 30 million a month are now not flying at all. So that's done incredible things to our bottom line. And of course, you need to pay your staff, you need to pay your expenses. So yes, I have decided to take my VSP package. And I must say that the positives from COVID has pushed me to think out of the box, to think, how can I use my skill set and apply that within what I know in terms of problem solving and also helping other people and businesses.
And you are now in your own business. You've been running it for a couple of months now. I just wanted to ask, what was it that helped you to actually take that leap of faith to go there, to do what you're doing now?
You know what, travel has given me an incredible background in terms of problem solving, being in a difficult situation where you are client facing and you're facing crises all the time. You have to think on your feet. There's literally no time to waste. So it has pushed me to think out of the box and think of creative ways in order to solve problems. So in using what I've learned in the travel industry, from project management to problem solving to crisis management, I've taken that and I want to apply that to help other companies to generate more sales for them. So a key aspect in any business is around sales. If you don't have sales to generate an income, you don't have a business.
Exactly. Okay, thank you for that, Annelies. And having known you over so many years, your creative thinking is on another level. I've been on the receiving side of your creativity. So thank you for sharing that with us. I wanted to just also throw out to you two both, and quoting again a couple of statistics. Creativity as a skill is actually the number 3, as I mentioned in the beginning. It's the number 3 skill, and it just comes after complex problem solving and critical thinking. So that's the number 3 skill that you've got, that you need to have. And that's according to the World Economic Forum. So I wanted to quickly throw it out to the two of you. If that's such an important skill, what did you do to actually gain the skill? How did you hone your own creativity? And I'll go to Vanessa first.
Vanessa, I think it is extremely important for you to have a solid morning routine. Back in the day, I always said, oh, I'm not a morning person. But once I started joining the 5 o'clock club, my whole life changed. In the morning, I get up when nobody else is up. I exercise, I journal, I write down everything that I'm grateful for. I write down a daily plan. I plan my day accordingly, hour by hour. I try and learn something new by reading or listening to a podcast or watching a tutorial on YouTube. And then I also have my own silent time where I meditate or I just sit in silence. I mean, when does all your best ideas come up? It's when you're in the shower, when you can't be on your phone or drive in the traffic. So I sit silently and I write everything down that comes to me. And I also like to listen to podcasts. As I say, I call it my travel or my traffic university. So I feel like you really need to take in as much knowledge as possible. I have 5 easy steps. The first one is you need to seek to use both sides of your brain, your left brain and your right brain. You need to have a thirst for knowledge, and you also need to explain everything that you learn back to yourself, like in layman's terms, so that you can understand and apply what you've learned. And then it's so important to have a trigger. You know, something that you can switch on, and then your creativity also switches on. It might be sipping on your favorite cafe latte or listening to your favorite music. For my husband, that's Queen. Or you can sit or retreat to a silent area, and then you need to let your imagination run wild. Sit down, write everything down that comes to you. Brainstorm. It's like I mentioned to you before too. It's a no bad ideas brainstorm. So just write everything down and limit it to a time period. Otherwise, you will just write and write and write, and you won't take any action. So take 50 minutes, write everything down, and go for it. And that's how you can be more creative.
You're so organized. It's probably something we can learn, because if you don't have that organization, the creativity is going to go nowhere, because you've got to know how to design it for yourself. And that's actually what we teach in the course as well, is how do you design the thinking, and what do you do with it, and how do you manage the ideas that pop up. You said a very interesting thing about switching the brain on, or switching the creativity on. In NLP life coaching, we have something called the reticular activating system. We call it the RAS, and we all have it. It's a little thing that sits here somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where in the brain, but it sits there. And the minute you switch it on, it starts working for you. So I just want to throw it out there. If any of you have ever tried to buy a new car, if you've ever been in the market for a new car and you start researching that car and you start thinking about it and what the color is going to be, what's the model going to be, all of a sudden you start seeing that car appearing. It was always there, but because you switched your reticular activating system on by the trigger the research that you've done or whatever, it actually starts to appear. So it goes to show what you put your mind to and what you think of actually can manifest. And that's how come we can be so creative. Annalise, what do you do to hone your creativity?
So I focused during, I would say, a more quiet time during COVID, where we couldn't trade like normal. We didn't have the day-to-day pressures and deadlines that we were used to. And I literally focused on my lives and my hobbies. So what is it that I truly like? What is it that makes me happy? You know, whether it was painting an old cupboard or an old little side table and looking at what the actual cupboard looked like before the time and how you've recreated and given it life again afterwards. That gave me joy. And the same, you can apply the same in business, you know. If you're expecting a change in your business, then you can't do things that you've always done in the same old-fashioned way. You have to reinvent, you have to rethink and remodel that business plan to get a different result and to expect a different result. So I really had the time to read up on things that I like, things that I'm interested in, but also I took the time to upskill myself. I registered for some online courses, and that really pushed my creativity to another level where I could now apply it in my business.
Fantastic. Just to share with all the attendees, Annelies has actually written her own online shop, haven't you? You've created your own online shop just by learning it. So it's possible.
I haven't had the digital knowledge or the marketing experience. Maybe from a travel perspective, yes, I have, you know, creating business models or business plans and so forth, and doing certain events, but definitely not on a digital platform. So COVID has pushed us to think virtually, where we are now able to communicate even more effectively sitting in front of a screen with multiple people. So it's almost like pushed us into the future a couple of years ahead of time.
Totally. You know, you're just saying such a true thing, because if I have to think about what we're currently doing, this webinar, we might not have thought about this 6 to 7 months ago, because we were so used to facing people across a meeting. You'd make the appointment and you'd go and see the person, or you'd set up a workshop and you'll be in front of the people. But this has really taught us new skills, and it's actually quite enjoyable. It's not always necessarily the easiest or necessarily the best way, because I do think we need to be able to touch each other still, because we experience the world through our senses. But yeah, it's definitely created a different way of thinking, and it's important that we learn this is the new way of the world. And I was also going to address, if you are sitting in a corporate environment or even in a management position, it is important to switch the way you interact with your people. You need to do something different, because you're not going to get different results if you're going to continue to do it the way you used to do it. And that just brings me to the point, you both spoke about creating time in your day to be quiet or to think about things and to let your creative juices run. So you're managing your time really well. So the first thing we say in the course is, in fact, that when you are in the corporate space and you do have teams and you want them to think creatively, you're going to have to create time. So the best thing we could do is to automate some of the repetitive tasks and help our people to just go away and think about things completely differently. And that's part of what we teach in the course. I'm going to share a little bit more about that later. I wanted to come to the techniques, and Vanessa, you particularly used it, the brainstorming part. There are a few others that we can use. But I wanted to ask you, what is it that stops people from bringing ideas to the table? And specifically you, Vanessa, what do you think? What stops people from bringing the ideas?
Glynis, people are scared of failure. You know, we are scared because in most corporate environments, we don't really have that safety net in place. And I think it's very important for you as a manager or senior management to put that safety net in place. And you need to create that safe environment where everybody can sit around the table and they can put up their hands. You know, some people don't like being on the forefront and throwing ideas out there, but they need to know it's a safe place that they can put up their hand. And also, some people are logical thinkers, you know, they work through a process and they're just scared to throw out their ideas if they haven't thought out the entire process yet. You don't have to do that, you know, you just need to take action. And yes. Then, you know, it's like driving in the fog with your headlights. Sometimes you can just see a little bit in front of you, but you just need to keep on going. You don't have to see the destination right away. You know, so I think that's very important.
Thank you for that. So it's about emotional intelligence as well at the end of the day, to know who you've got in your team. And I also just wanted to yet again throw it out to the attendees tonight. If you are going to go into a brainstorming situation with your teams, wherever you are, or even with your family, or whatever it is that you're doing to get the creative juices flowing, it's important to understand who's on the team. So we've got a little test. We actually did it. The three of us did it to understand what your creativity type is. And I am giving away a free ebook tonight, and there is a link in there for you to go and do the test yourself to see what creativity type you are, so that when you do have a team of people, that you don't have the same type of people in the team. You have to make sure that you have different people on the team. It came out that I was the dreamer, and both Annelies and Vanessa are the adventurers.
Yes.
So, yes, for me, I am the dreamer, but if I'm not ever going to take any action, none of it is going to happen. And so it's very important to have someone to hold you accountable. It just so happens that Samantha works with me and she's the maker. So the dreamer and the maker, and she'll make me do things. So, and the dreamer and the adventurer, maybe the dreamer and the adventurer don't work so well together, but the adventurer needs someone else to pull them back and say, okay, it's not all about adventure. It's not all about curiosity. What are we going to do next? So I just wanted to throw that out there. But I did want to ask Annelies also to tell us, what do you think stifles creativity for people in the workplace?
Do you think it's a fear of rejection or a fear of judgment? And we need to be more open to suggestions. And that's where it starts.
Okay. And yes, that's another thing. This thing that you both mentioned, it fear. And I'm wondering who in the group is struggling with fear. If you are, it's important that you overcome it, or if you know about someone who has it. And I don't know if you've ever been around a boardroom table and all of a sudden you don't know what to say. That feeling of anxiety comes into the pit of your stomach and the words just can't come out. You know what you want to say, but you can't say it. So those are the kinds of things that will kill creativity at the spur of the moment. Also, if you're working with a team of people or a management team that struggle with emotional intelligence, they could stifle the creativity. And we've seen it. We've seen it in our corporate careers. And you may get the best idea from someone who's the quietest around the table, but you never took the time to actually bring it out of them. Thank you, ladies. Is there anything else you want to say in closing, Annelies, about creativity?
Yes, Glynis, just that there's so many benefits to have creativity as a skill set in your business, in your modern day life, in your family, you know, and just to name three, it's a way that you can express yourself. You can learn to have fun again. Sometimes we have to go back to basics. We forgot how to have fun. It's all about freshness. It's all about, you know, how to put food on the table. So that's one thing for me. It also promotes healthy thinking methods and problem solving. And it's also, it gives you a sense of purpose at the end of the day. And it also reduces stress and anxiety.
Fantastic. Thanks for that wrap up. That's so on point. And Vanessa, as a closing statement?
Yes, I also just have to mention that there are so many positives. Look at that, not only for yourself, but also for your teams. And with creativity in your workspace and creative thinking, people will be more productive. You will have long-standing quality employees working for you. It will be a fun environment, as Annelies said. And also it will be an environment where people are more proactive and much more productive. Always remember, you know, it's in your comfort zone where all your dreams die. You know, and it's from failure where you find your strength. So sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith.
Okay, true that. Thank you very much, ladies. You really shared so much, and you're going to stay on. We're going to have the questions and answers just now. I just wanted to share with you just the content of the course that I've created, because it absolutely focuses on that environment. You know, it's like anything. If you are not in an environment where you are allowed or you are free to speak, it's not going to come. You have to think about it, even in your families or wherever you are. If there's a problem with environment, it doesn't come. So we have to work so hard at creating the environment and getting it right. So the first thing we cover in the course is how to create an environment that is a DNA. It has to run throughout everybody in the organization or in the team or in the family, whatever it is that you are doing. So the first thing is to look at the environment and the DNA in the course. The second thing is to look at how do we generate the ideas and what do we do with them? How do we pull it all in? How do we know which ones are going to work, which ones are not going to work, which ones we need to put a little bit on the back burner? So that's number 2 that we look at in the course. And then the third thing is the technique. You know, no golfer has ever been successful without technique. I'm sure you'll agree with me. You can't succeed without technique. And even if you know a little bit about it, knowing a little bit about something is dangerous. You actually have to know a lot about it. So in the course, we do practical scenarios and practical ways of how to do it. It's all good and well to know what to do, but if you don't know how to do it or how to execute it, it's also not going to work. And then lastly, we will teach how do you manage it all, because I've been in many training sessions in my lifetime. I walk out of there and I've learned nothing. We aim to make sure that it sticks, that when you walk away from the course, you have something tangible and you can already go and implement it. It's that important. Training for the sake of training, you might as well not do it. You can't walk away even from this tonight with 2 or 3 things that you can say, I can go and implement it. Even if it's just the little test that I'm telling you about, the creativity test that you go and do. It's something, you've learned something, you've taken something away from it. And that to us as a team, for me, it's the most important thing is that people walk away. And when I train, I don't train with a trainer's hat on. And that's no disrespect to people who are trainers. I train with a coach hat on. Because when you coach, you get the best out of people. Not when you tell people. So that's just in a nutshell about the course. If you want to know any more, we can engage on email. You can ask questions. But we've come to the end of our panel discussion. And I'd like you to put your videos on if you don't mind, please. Okay. Right, it's question time. Samantha, can you just, the first one came from Jade. Jade says, my struggle is the fear of the rejection. The next person thinking that the idea that I have put forward is inferior. So let's deal with that one quickly.
I don't mind tapping into it a little bit, and it could be a different perspective to look at for different people. Now that I'm in my 40s, I've learned not to always care about what people think. I think when you're much younger, you're very concerned about what people think of you and how they see you. And you know, it could be an age thing, maybe not, but for me, I'm past that stage. I don't care what people think or whether they like me or whether they accept me. I am who I am, and I'm happy with what I've achieved in my life. So that already gave me confidence to put myself out there and to take the jump or the leap of faith, and you know, to put a suggestion forward. But yeah, it is quite a big thing to overcome. I don't know, Glynis, have you got any other advice?
I do, Jade. I actually teach some of it in my coaching courses. I help people to deal with rejection and with criticism and all those negative things that come into us from other people and from the outside world. And the best and biggest thing I could share with you today is to almost step out of yourself, Step out of yourself and see the thing there. Okay, just step away from it, because often your feelings of rejection is possibly unfounded. It's possibly unfounded. You need to disassociate yourself from the problem, and they often say to us, don't take it so personally, but we do. So it's yes, Annelies?
I've often advised my teams that if they get to a situation like that, to take the emotion out of it. So that's one thing that came back to me now. I constantly reminded them to take the emotion out of it, and we do.
Yeah.
We are emotional creatures, and we tend to respond with our thinking. You fire from the belly, and always look at the facts. If you look at the facts and you put it in point form, then it becomes clear.
Yes.
It becomes clear, and then it's almost like taking that step back and thinking, but the person didn't react that way because she's got a personal vendetta against me. It's because she herself is going through some issues.
Totally. So, Jade, I want to say to you, a coaching session awaits you. Because it's a very powerful technique that you utilize, and you can switch it on just like you can switch on your reticular activating system. You switch it on when that feeling of anxiety and fear comes and it starts to overtake you. You switch yourself on. You can switch your brain on. I think that's one of the most powerful things I learned when I started into the coaching world, is that your brain works for you when you allow it to, because you can switch it either way. Switch it on or you can switch it off. Preferably switch it on. Because remember, we only use just about not even 20% of our brains, eh? And creativity gets you to start using more of your brain power. We are very busy people. Remember, our brains can only take in at the most, for the most part, your brain can take in 7 bits of data, but you've got 20 million bits of data coming into you. So what do you need to do? You need to understand how this guy upstairs works and switch it on when you need to switch it on. But there we go. Okay, let's go to question number 2. I'm just going to quickly pop it up there. Vanessa, you said there were 5 things in your thinking that you do. Rosemary says you covered 2, so you need to give us another 3.
I would like to just put it forward. A very good book to read is the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. You know, before all of this started, I first read the 5 a.m. Club. And then after that, I read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And he actually talks about 5 things. It's savers like sugar, alpha, Victor, Echo, Romeo, sugar. And these are 5 things that you can choose from in the mornings. And it really helps you to fire up your creativity. The first one is obviously silence, as we said, sitting in silence. And the second one is affirmations. You know, sometimes you need to speak to yourself. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love myself. You are successful. You will make a success of yourself. You know, it sounds very, very silly, but it is all about positivity and seeing yourself in a positive light. So it's silence, affirmations. The next one is visualization. I mean, they've done research before. Even basketball players, people in Formula One, if they sit beforehand and they visualize what they've done and they've taken those steps beforehand, it's so much easier, because when you get there, it's like you've already done it and you'll be much more successful and more confident in what you're doing, even for a simple daily routine. And the next one is exercise. As I said, you don't have to go and run 10 Ks in the morning. Do 100 star jumps before you get into the shower. You know, run on the spot. Just get those juices flowing so that your brain can wake up. Another good tip is in the morning when you wake up, you are rehydrated. You need to rehydrate yourself. Have a big glass of water before you start your entire routine. The next one is R for reading, because you need to get your knowledge up there. As Annelies also said, you know, lockdown gave us the opportunity to start reading more and learning more. So reading is very important. And then the last N is S for scribbling. As I said, have a diary. Write down everything that you're grateful for. Write down everything that you're scared of. Just write everything down and plan your day accordingly. So really have a look at those savers. I will write it down here.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Did that answer your question? Who Anastasia, you asked the question. Okay, I just want to go to, we'll need to get through all the questions. Rosemary, how can sustenance of creativity be achieved? Do you mean that how do we sustain it? Is that what you mean, Rosemary?
Yes, that is what I mean.
You mean how do we keep it alive? How do we constantly keep ourselves creatively alive? Well, yeah. Can I answer that one? I have a vision board in my corner here. I do vision board workshops as well. But you know what? Every morning I walk in here and this green board is standing here and it's shouting at me. I did it in January and I have literally done almost 80% of that stuff on that board already. You've got to see what it is that you need to achieve on a continuous basis, Rosemary. Because you will fall, you will fall, but if you have visual stuff, like Vanessa said, visualize. If you have visual stuff that keeps you going, you can't go wrong because it's telling you. It tells me that I need to build a sustainable business. So it's in my face every day. I have to come and sit down and, okay, so have I done anything about my sustainable business today? And if I didn't, that drags me there. It goes, now I start doing research. What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to speak to? Who do I need to phone? That's the one way of keeping creativity alive and sustaining it on a continuous basis throughout your year and throughout your day. And if there are any managers on this group, do it for your teams. Make sure there's a board that says, where are we going? If our target is R1 million for the month, make sure there's a board that says so, because they have to see it. And then don't just put the R1 million, tell them how we're going to get there. How many steps do we need to take to get to that R1 million? And it's in small incremental bits. Creativity is not this big thing. You have to break it into small pieces. And I think it's Annalise that says, your creativity inspires you, it motivates you. So the more you do, the more you find purpose. And what's the one thing that we say? Creativity, it's actually Maya Angelou that said it. You can never use it up. The more you use, the more you have. So try little things, Rosemary, but the vision board, I 100% believe in it. Taylor, my dad is listening at the same time and he always tells us to take the emotion out of it. Your dad is a wise man, Taylor. Listen to him. You know what? I just want to say, easier said than done. Because we are human beings and human beings have emotions. And that's why it is so important to understand the technique. Because when you understand the technique, you know how to take the emotion out. So someone just tells you take the emotion out, you go like, but what do you mean? You don't know how to do it, you will always struggle with it. It's important to understand the how. And then also in NLP, we've got something called anchors. And we teach you how to switch the anchor on or how to switch the anchor off. When I was in my corporate career, something I really, really battled with in my earlier years of my career and climbing the ladder was sitting around the boardroom table and getting so anxious. I mentioned it earlier on. You get so anxious. You know how I don't know if you have been, but in a meeting also they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time they're at number 4, I am sweating profusely. Because you work yourself up into a frenzy and you can't get the words out. Now, it looks like you don't know what you're doing. And that you can never do to yourself. You can never do that to yourself. So it is very important. The one thing that helped me was to anchor. And it's really simple stuff. It's nothing major. And it's teachable, just like creativity is learnable. Is there such a word? So you can learn all of these things. You just need someone to guide you a little bit and take your hand and walk you there.
Glynis,
yes.
If I may, you were just saying for somebody to take your hand. I think it's also very important for you to find an accountability partner for yourself, you know. And like you said, whenever you have the ideas, you put it on your visual board or write it down and tell it to somebody that's going to keep you accountable for it, you know, and to see if you're on track. Doesn't matter if it is for a business idea or losing weight or practicing for the comrades. You need to speak to somebody. And you know, you can gain 10 years on your creativity or in your business, financially, if you just speak to a mentor, somebody that's done it before, even if you have to pay for their time, because that's going to save you time.
That I can't agree with you more. And I can see Annalise smiling because she's my accountability partner and I'm hers. So in our many years of being together in the corporate world, she'd pick up the phone and say, Glennie, this is the story. What do I do? And immediately when you do that, I put my coach hat on and I go, okay, have you thought of this? Have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? And then she goes away and she goes and implement it. And then we check and she says, okay, this worked and that didn't work. What is exactly what you're trying to say? Find somebody in your circles who's not scared of putting you in your place or helping you to get to the next step where you need to be. It's so vital and it's at our fingertips nowadays. I wish I had me when I was 20 years old. There was no me in my life when I was 20 years old. So the resources are there. Yes, Annalise?
I just wanted to mention, and that's why feedback is so important. You know, it's all good and well to share your ideas with your friends or your mentor, but implementation is very important and feedback is very important because you need to know what worked for you so that you don't make the same mistakes in the future. And then another thing is goal setting. Guys, that is so important. Together with that vision board, set your goals, write them down. And a couple of months down the line, you'll be able to tick them off one by one. And that gives you a sense of purpose.
It does.
And achievement.
Absolutely. Thank you, Annalise. I want to say to you, we do have that ebook. There's a lot of stuff in there, but it's very high level. Okay. And please go and do that creativity test with yourself. See what you are, and then start surrounding yourself with other people, okay? So if you're a dreamer, please don't go and make friends with 5 dreamers. Go make friends with a couple of other people and start pulling people into your network and into your circle that's going to hold you accountable and get you into your sustainable creativity, Rosemary. Okay. I hope you have enjoyed this session. Like I said, it is being recorded, so it will be on my YouTube channel. I will send you a link. But yeah, I sincerely hope you enjoyed it. I want to quickly whip around the room and ask Jade, what did you take out of this?
I think especially after hearing from Annalise, and you know, when you've got 2 pages full of notes from a 1-hour webinar, you know you've taken something. But it's been very insightful because I think my problem was I've never taken the emotion out of it. So I'm always scared what everybody else thinks. And being a VA and working with so many different people, and you need to have so many different creativity hats on, I've taken away that I need to first maybe take a step back and then sit with myself and see what it is that I need to do, what it is that I need to achieve, and then take, you know, back again and refocus. I know, like it was said earlier, and I think I've taken it to heart, reinvent, rethink, remodel. So I think that's my motto going forward now, you know, instead of just leaving everything and hope that it will work out. I need to come back and make the changes and see where the problem was and then fix it from there. So thank you so much.
Sharon, do you want to just quickly share what you've taken out of it?
Hi, Glynis says thanks, both Annelies, yourself, and Vanessa. I think what I've taken out of that is I think a passion. You guys started off with a passion, and then I think it's just persistence, and filling that persistence up with everything along the way. So very insightful. Thank you, and I wish you all very best.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Thanks for joining. Appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
Where are we now? Taylor, you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you guys, each of you. You guys have honestly made me put my goals that I've got written down. They need to be visual now. And the thing is, the fact that you have your visual board every single day and you look at it every single day, you're able to say, okay, right, I have to do it. And not only that, the Savers thing, definitely going to be using. So thank you guys all very much. It was very, very informative.
Awesome. And listen to your dad. Take the emotion out of it.
You will.
Anastasia, thanks, Taylor. Anastasia?
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Jade, for the invite. This was definitely worth waking up. I just wanted to ask, because I hear about the creativity, and I also know that when you're emotionally exhausted, then you kind of like have a block to be creative. So the 5 o'clock waking up, Vanessa, I think that's the time I go to bed, because I'm a late sleeper and I can't wake up so early. So how do you do that? How do you change that whole thing so that you can become creative?
Very good question. I am 100% a night owl. I also used to sleep and I study also. So I work till 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at night.
Yes.
But this time that I've put aside for myself, yes, I get up at 5 o'clock, but for you, it might be 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock. Yeah. But that time is so sacred to me that at this moment in time, I won't give it up for anything in this world. Because after I've done that, I am ready for the day. Because if you just get up for work and you grab a bar and you shower and you do your makeup in the car, you are constantly reactive. Everything in your day is happening to you, Anastasia. Well, when you have sit down in the morning and you plan your day, you've had your silence, you can be proactive and you can hit everything head on, being more proactive. Just do it once for yourself. My tips for you is keep your phone away from you. There's so many things, but keep your phone away. Get an old school alarm. Let it go off. Yeah. Jump up right away. Put your exercising clothes next to your bed. Put it on. Start jogging on the spot. Start doing jumping jacks. Drink that big glass of water. Sit in silence. Start doing those things. I promise you that 1 hour, it's going to become 1.5 hours. When you see again, you want to get up at 4:45 because you don't want to miss out on 15 minutes while you're getting dressed. Just try it out. I promise you, it's going to be 7 days, and then you're going to realize, oh goodness, it's Sunday, but I'm still doing it. I promise you won't regret it. Try it.
Awesome. Okay, I will definitely do that. And I will send Jade, or she's got my email, just to get more information, Glynis, on the course that you are offering.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this journey. Thank you, Vanessa. I needed to hear that.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Anastasia. And you know what? Guess what? You've said it on national TV. Okay, my computer screen. I'm going to hold you accountable because that's what I do. Or Vanessa can. She can say, Anastasia, have you done it? There are ways. Because you know what? When we have somebody holding us accountable, it's almost like there's a little thing going off here in your brain, and you're gonna go, I don't want to disappoint Glynis, or I don't want to disappoint Vanessa, and I'll do it. And before you know it, it's a habit. It
Absolutely.
it
Thank
works
you.
like that. Thank you. Okay, guys, we've gone through everybody. We're going to say goodbye. And thank you very much. Thanks, Sam. Thank you, Annalise and Vanessa, for your participation. There will be other webinars, and we will let you guys know. And thank you, Dave. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Taylor, for staying till the end. Thanks, Anastasia. And it's a wrap.
Thank you,
Okay,
ladies.
bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.